guess what is NFT in Arabic? الرموز الغير قابلة للاستبدال.
And we are back, and today we have with us Nicholas Ashkar, and I'm not going to introduce him, he's going to introduce himself, and it's a pretty unique one today. Nicholas, how are you? And welcome, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Peter. It's super nice to be here, and it's a great opportunity to be part of one of the episodes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Glad to have you with us. Before we start, and the way we always start it, which is, yalla, let's have a quick chat. I want to know who's Nicholas, and everyone wants to know who's Nicholas before we dive into the L&D world.
Very deep question, to say the least. My name is Nicholas, but I go by Nick. Nicholas is a very formal form. I'm a person from different facets, I think. I've learned from different parts of the world. I had the opportunity to work since I was a young kid. In our worlds, like 13 is okay to work, to start working summer jobs, odd jobs. And it's a combination of experiences that formed who is the person in front of you. At the moment, I lead the L&D vertical or the learning vertical for Publicis Group with a lovely team that caters for the best clients in the world, 2,600 employees.
Wow. 206?
2,600
employees. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you're managing the learning for all of them?
Yes, the team is managing. Yeah.
But you as part of the team, yeah.
100%.
I mean, that's beautiful. And before that?
Before that, I graduated from university majoring in business and management. And because our culture makes you venture into the best job in the world, go and work in the banking sector because you have security and all of that. Tried that for 9 months exactly. And by mistake, and it was a lovely conversation that I had with lovely peeps to tell me, why don't you interview in our company? And I had the opportunity to join Publicis since 2014. I joined as a media exec and started working on different clients from the media aspect in different agencies. And then in 2020, and 2 days before the lockdown, I moved to the UAE, stayed in the media realm, worked with Majd Al-Futtaim and Lenovo. And 3 years ago, I said, I want to follow something that I'm passionate about, and I'm always curious about venturing into new, different challenges. And after a series of interviews, I moved from media to talent and specifically education. And to say the least, that I'm lucky that I was given the opportunity to go and follow my passion within the group, because I value the position in the group and I value what the group offered for me throughout the years. So wanted to offer back.
That's beautiful. That was my next question. I was like, why L&D?
Yeah, why L&D? I mentioned curiosity, but curiosity is a very small thing that can make you go huge miles. Whether be it curiosity in music, curiosity in arts, curiosity in knowing something new, just looking at new technologies, whether be it in any realm, whether you want to say nowadays is AI or previously it was Web3, it was the metaverse last year, and you never know tokenization when it comes to life, but just being curious about different subjects made me think like this is something that I'd love to do and constantly evolve.
So constant learning, being up to date, understanding what's happening in the world, because we always say it, if you're behind, you can never surpass.
100%.
So you have to always be updated with everything. So when we talk about learning, what kind of, when we talk about people who work in learning, what characteristics and what competencies do you think a person who is professional in learning should have? Well, there's no specific persona or characteristics for a person who works in L&D.
There is. If I want to sum it into 3, curiosity would be a main thing. You need to be always up to date on what needs to be now granted or enabled towards talents that you operate with or you work with, because you want to keep them up to date, right? So if you want to go into a certain matter, at least you need to understand how it functions before just cascading it down.
Okay.
Know what the talent needs from it so that they'll be able to apply it to the job. So curiosity always enables your thinking in a different way, whether be it on applying it or looking for the subject for the sake of looking. So probing in a way. The other thing would be passionately working with people, because at the end of the day, we're not ones and zeros. The humanity in us plays a huge role. And funny enough, most of the things that I would thank smoking for it, but I wouldn't be enabling smokers, is that most of the conversations that we can get some nuggets from at least come from different cigarette breaks that I have.
Yeah.
And some of the talents reach out like for specific learnings is by the connection one-on-one.
صح.
Nowadays we're used to sit behind the screen, receive an email, but if you don't stand up, go and talk to a certain person, you would understand their emotion and maybe a frustration or an enjoyment whenever they did a certain training or they completed a certification. It's not just a post on LinkedIn at the end of the day or an email that you receive. It's just having that human connection. You would see how excited they are to go a step further. The third one, I would say, so I said passion in working with people, and it would be passion in general.
Yeah, so curiosity and passion are the two main things.
Yeah.
Maybe I can add to that one thing. People who work in L&D, they need to always be eager to research and to be always up to date. I see, because I meet a lot of people in L&D, and I see a lot of people in L&D that work there just to tick boxes. They just wake up in the morning, I'm going to go, عندي batchet, you have these 3 batches, done, يلا روح البيت. And you have actually people who are actually keen. They care about it. They actually believe in it. And the problem is now, and I want to get your opinion on this, we believe in it, but a lot of people actually don't believe in it. In the organizations that you actually push them to attend the workshops. We're doing this for your own benefit. We're not doing it because we have extra budget that we want to burn. We want to develop you, and we're not saying that you guys are bad, but we're saying that with these things, you might be better.
100%.
How do you deal with resistance? And how do you deal, 2 things about, how do you deal with resistance, and how do you deal with class clowns who are attending against their will, so they destroy the experience?
First of all, no one is obliged to do so.
Okay.
At the end of the day, there aren't any obligatory workshops that you need to attend. What we try as much as we can to emphasize, this will always reflect on the talent's performance.
Okay.
If you are keen to grow, you will definitely grow the business whenever you are learning something new. And that, by attending such workshops, it will show whenever you're applying it on your day-to-day work. When we say linking it to performance, definitely is not just taking that training for ticking the box. Before we deliver the training, we actually do a lot of research, to your point, and what our talents want to upskill themselves in, because we have certain questions whenever we're doing their performance catch-ups. One of the questions is, what would be a skill that you would require in order to take your career further?
So it's like TNA, but from their own perspective.
100%.
Okay.
So it's still a TNA, but it's a talent needs analysis, not a training needs analysis.
Okay.
So if we look at it in that manner, we would be automatically delivering something that they asked for on a silver platter.
But what if what they asked for is not actually, it doesn't work with the business or with the line of business? And say someone in accounting is asking for a Photoshop workshop, and he thinks that he wants it and he needs it. How do you guys justify that or work with him on it?
That makes total sense. Some people are passionate towards photography and work in accounting, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Maybe some photographer, which I doubt, they would love to work on accounting. But both ends make sense, because when we do our training needs analysis or talent needs analysis, we bucket most of the major programs or the asks from our talents into 3 main buckets. What is a soft skill, which is communication, presentation skills, presenting yourself in a way, or client service.
Time management,
all of these. Yeah. The second one, which would be a technical skill, what relates directly to your job. On a technical manner, whether be it on Excel, PowerPoint, the tools that you use on a day-to-day basis. And the third one, which is special skills. Special skills are things that agency is asking for, or these talents from that agency are asking for, but they don't fall in that remit. However, this doesn't mean that we neglect them. At the end of the day, we offer it to them, but we've heard them. This is a 3rd degree skill that for the time being is not urgent, not a priority, but you can have it because it's there.
Okay.
So we provide it, but it's on them to take it because it depends on how much they see that would add value to them.
And do they do it face-to-face, or let's say, if we talk about technology now, so they do it face-to-face, or we can say that if there's a technological tool that could be used to teach them, you can offer them that as well?
Yes. So part of Publicis is that we have a tool or a platform that has been built released in 2017, and it's called Marcel. Marcel connects more than 100,000 talents across the globe. And on Marcel, it's a platform where you can go gather insights, research, learn from different markets, and most importantly, host classes.
Bravo.
So you can host classes live there with the global team sometimes. And on top of it, every single talent that is within the group has access to LinkedIn Learning because we have ties with them. So they can do e-learnings on the platform. Last year, we've had the chance to unlock something that is a bit more advanced. We unlocked a partnership with Udemy here in the region. And because they are way more technical on their courses, and they offer photography classes, they offer content creation, even producing soundtracks or diving into how to operate a digital audio workstation on Udemy. And it's very much intricate. And because we saw that was the appetite there, we built the case for the global team, and the global team offered the same access for everyone across the globe. So every single person within the group has access to Udemy and LinkedIn. So they can do it on their own. However, if there's a huge need for a workshop, we go to the likes of yourselves, HNI, or any different partner that can provide us live photography sessions, or a big data company or a big tech company such as TikTok, Meta, Twitter, you name it, on how to create content on their own platforms. And we would contact them in order to do a workshop with them so that we enable our talents accordingly.
Beautiful. And talking still at the part of technology, how is AI now changing the game when it comes to learning and development? So in terms of content creation, when it comes to learning and development, creating the classes, and doing as simple as something as the invites, how is AI changing the game now?
Well, AI, maybe it's in us as humans, I don't know. And AI became a huge
topic
in the past 2 years, and it's been growing very fast. It's in every single process or pillar in our process. The way that we gather information, the way that we can understand what the talent need, the way that we research certain classes, what are the approach that we can take that can elevate the engagement with our talents. Because at the end of the day, as humans, sometimes we run out of ideas. And basically, you can brainstorm whenever you want a soundboard, which is AI nowadays. It can be a generative pre-trained transformer, such as a GPT, or it can be a tool that you can implement through an API and enable your platform accordingly. Marcel as a platform is an AI platform because you approach it as, let's say, Peter has a profile there. He can put his interests, and accordingly, that algorithm would recommend classes towards the interests of Peter.
Yeah.
And it allows us to if I want to sum it up, it allows us to approach the process more efficiently and be a bit more personalized. So if I'm doing a development plan for a person that we need them to enhance their approach in 6 months and overturn whatever they've been doing and deliver on a certain caliber in 6 months, vetting the necessary skills in terms of what is now crucial for them to take and cascading it down throughout the 6 months. It's approached through an AI approach, and then we work it manually for the time being in order to tell them, okay, in order to start, these are the sets of courses. You need to take them throughout these 6 months. And by 6 months, we will launch another assessment for us to vet what is the progress that has been done. Was it good or we're at standstill? And then we move into performance management. It's been a great tool every single step of the way, whether by engaging with the people. I'm sure you've seen a lot of posts on LinkedIn that have been generated by AI at the end of the day. The same can be done with invites, because invites sometimes can be meticulous and you need to approach it in a manner where people would attend the workshop without being intimidated by the invite, because education, and which is a word that I don't like to say, education, whenever you say it, reminds you with university and school, and someone is telling you stand in the corner, because that was my experience when I was in school. I was pretty much not the good kid. Learning in general needs to be engaging, and it varies from one person to another, by the way. So
True. طيب, story time. In story time, I ask always my guests to do something. I want to know stories. So this is called Stories of L&D. So from the L&D world, I want 3 stories. A funny story, something that I actually cannot forget from how funny it was, and people started laughing about it. And then if there was something, a mistake done or something, how did you learn from it? I want something that put fear in your heart, something that went wrong, something that was scary. We're all humans, it happened. And something that touched your heart, a story that touched your heart. So, يعني start زي ما انت عايز with any story that you
I'll start backwards.
Sure.
Because I don't have a funny story. I'm not the person that can people laugh. I don't know if I'll be able to do a funny story if I recall one. But from a story that touched my heart was recently, in the past few months, I've been working towards my coaching certification. And it was pretty much a tedious process. So every single weekend, you need to log in from Friday till Sunday. Basically, you don't have a weekend. You're just sitting in front of a screen with random people. And funny enough, when I booked the first session, I misjudged the time difference. And I've booked it in the US timing zone. So I used to start the training at 8 and finish around 3 a.m., 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. And it was a very tedious process, to say the least, tiring. And I was fortunate enough to finish the coaching journey 2 weeks ago.
مبروك.
Thank you. And what was emotional is that I missed that. Like, so far, I said it on the last call that we had together as part of celebrating the success. And I said it, like, I haven't had a weekend for a while, but I'm sure that I'm going to miss it. And now on this table, I'm saying it. I miss it because I was partnered with people that they want to grow intellectually. And I would love to work with such people, because you always push yourself in order to give back to a community, to humanity in general, because these connections, whether be it beyond a screen or now we're sitting and talking, they're priceless at some point. Nowadays, everything is just looking at the screen and you're like scrolling. Attention spam is decreasing. So that's an emotional story for me, to say the least, and the recent one. Fear is not it's not a fearful story. It's just that tingling sense that we aim for. Sometimes you'd like to see a challenge and you'd like to dive into cold water or just try to see how you act in fight or flight mode. And this is a very... I'll combine funny and fear in the same.
Nice.
So I think 2 years ago we were working with a client back in when Metaverse and Web3 was the boom or the talk of the town. And a client was promised to have a workshop about Web3 in Arabic.
Ay.
And given the terms or the terminologies in Arabic, you might say it's very tricky.
Very hard.
So guess what is NFT in Arabic? Non-fungible token.
I have no idea.
الرموز الغير قابلة للاستبدال.
Okay.
So that's NFT alone.
That's hard.
Being us in general and the past, I don't know, since you start your working journey, we mainly operate in English. And the story started coming back from a cigarette break. We were going into an elevator, and I remember the head of consultancy comes, like, we were talking, and he's like, "You speak Arabic, your voice is nice, can you deliver this workshop?" And I'm like, "Yes." And I work in L&D.
And you don't know, the problem is you don't know the topic.
I know Web3.
But you don't know the context. No, he wants it in Arabic. Yeah.
And he said, like, I speak Arabic. Yeah, I speak Arabic. I didn't know that the context. So he shared with me the deck, and I'm looking at it, and okay, that's in Arabic. That's in Arabic. And I called him, like, do you want this to be delivered in Arabic, formal Arabic, or slang Arabic, or the way that we speak normally, Lebanese, or the certain dialects that the client wants? He's like, let's start with formal. Literally, I used to sit, I think every night for a month or so, opening the deck and filming myself, because you need to practice.
Of course.
So practice will create that progress and become more natural. But where I used to laugh is when I started watching my recordings, I felt like I was in a news setting. Masa'ul khair. And in that way.
The problem is, it reminds me of a lot of things. ممكن تكون in news, it could be cartoon.
100%.
We used to watch cartoon when we were kids.
Or Mexican films.
Or Mexican films. It's the same thing.
It's the same.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks before the workshop, and this is a bit where it pushed the scariness a notch, is when I understood who it was being delivered to, the audience, the capacity, first of all. It was around 120 people in the room. It was an auditorium. And I thought in the beginning it was a small workshop. That would be nice. So they call me and they're like, we're going to change it into slang Arabic. You can speak in Lebanese. I'm like, okay.
After all this learning.
2 weeks down the line. And I'm like, and who's going to be attending? They're like, the client and several media reps, and they're going to be filming it. And it's going to be done in an auditorium. 120 people will be there. And I'm like, okay, that's scary. Because in the beginning, I thought it was a smaller group. It would be nicer to give, more intimate setting. And
you could engage with them. But in an auditorium session, all the eyes are on you, and it's not a two-way communication. There's
100%.
no feedback.
Yeah.
But you're just there and talking, and you're just trying to engage with the crowd. But it's not like an actual delivery where there's a two-way communication and you can understand and you can see the people and understand how they feel. That's actually scary.
What made it a relief in it is that when the person in front of me was presenting, set the stage whereby I knew that they were comfortable with the material that they've had. And then I went after him. One thing that plays a huge role that I missed is that when we have such workshops, I love to scout the area. That's why I come 30 minutes earlier to a meeting in order to understand how to work around the workshop, the seminar, where people sit, understand the audience, the technicalities. Am I going to suffer technical difficulties? And if I am, how to approach it. Would I panic? Would I act normal?
Yeah,
and all of that.
how to overcome it, yeah.
And after an hour of delivering the workshop, I felt that people got a lot of information that was shared. The engagement was there. People loved the workshop. And the irony is that afterwards, they started asking us for different Arabic workshops.
Allah.
So, yeah, it was funny,
Actually,
scary.
that's your ROI on the spot.
Yeah.
I always believe that. This is when you deliver a successful session and people come and ask you for more, that's ROI on the spot.
100%.
You don't need an ROI measurement tool. خلاص. This is from the ground itself.
Yeah.
And this is something I want to ask you as well. ROI. So when we deliver those workshops, either you do it internally or you do it with an external vendor, ROI is the main thing that makes you either go for more or change your strategy. How do you do that? How do you measure your ROI?
So I've spoken about talent needs analysis. We do the same by end of year. Every year we start around September, around this time, to understand the feedback that has been given to every single training, whether be it external or internal training.
Okay, so level 1, so you got the feedback.
Yes, we get it from the talents who attended, other than their performance remit, other than when we're discussing the same with C-levels or business leads. Because you have 3 different facets, we're linking them to make our approach foolproof. Okay, so when we are getting the needs from C-levels or directors, it's because these are the business needs that fall into the group's needs. When we are getting it from our talents from performance, is how we want to enable them further. And when we are getting them from talents who were nominated and took the trainings, we are getting direct ROI, not ROI, direct feedback about how we can elevate and take it a bit up a notch.
Okay.
When we combine these 3, it will allow us to understand our approach better, what is working, what is not. Main questions that stem from these external trainings are the rating. Definitely, how would you rate that? How would you rate the delivery or the trainer? Were they engaging? Were they dull? Did they make something trigger your mind or make you a bit more curious about the material? How was the material that was delivered? Is it something that you think you would advise someone else to attend it?
Yeah.
And the third main pillar is that what did you get from this? And it's an open question. So they usually fill it with proper feedback. And the last one is, how are you able to apply it on your day-to-day job? So we're trying to cover as many as we can data points so that we'll be able to approach year on year. And I would say it very bluntly, it's not reinventing the wheel, it's understanding your people. I would love to do these on a one-to-one settings. It will take ages to do so. But having these data points would allow you to be able to say, okay, Peter, this year we've seen X, Y, Z, but we want to introduce T to the equation. And that would allow us to say, okay, Peter, when you delivered this training, how did you feel the room as a trainer? Were they engaged? Did they have their cameras on? Because nowadays virtual plays a huge role, by the way.
Yeah.
Because we operate in different markets and we want to be equal when we are delivering a workshop.
ده لوحده أصلا يعني this is on its own is a very very big challenge. How to manage different markets at the same time with different cultures and
100%.
different time zones. It's a huge thing.
100%. And we don't want to give more to a population that is sitting in a certain market and play it in a favoritism card. We want everyone to have the same experience. Definitely, if there's a workshop where we've given it in the UAE, the same trainer would go to visit the different markets, whether be it Lebanon, Egypt, Turkey, Saudi, and deliver the same. Whatever is being delivered on a physical level, it's being done the same across different markets.
But on a virtual setup?
No, on a physical level.
On a physical level. Whatever if you have the nominations, of course.
Yes.
Okay.
whenever it's being done virtually, it's virtual across all.
Okay. فهمت قصدك. So even if you have the number of nominations in UAE, but if it's going to be virtual for other markets, then it's virtual for UAE.
Yes.
So they all be consistent when it comes to the quality of delivery. That's amazing. That's amazing. طيب, before I finish, I want to ask you a question that I always ask everyone. Nick, what is the dream? Not work dream. What is your dream?
Wow. It's all of the questions were a bit on point. I think nowadays with everything happening around us, as Nick, what they would love to see, not the world's dream, it would be give back. Just give back. Share.
Okay.
Share as much as you can of knowledge, I would say skills, and enable people.
Beautiful.
That's my take on a dream, whether be it a close friend, a stranger, a human being at the end of the day, where you can see them just light a spark in their eyes and say, like, I wish I knew this.
If I'm blessed, I can bless others.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
And be grateful to what you have. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time. It was an amazing talk and chat.
Thank you.
My pleasure as always to see you. Cheers,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.